A solo motorcycle journey across continents often looks like pure adventure, freedom, and cinematic landscapes. But behind the camera is usually a far more complex emotional engine. One well-known long-distance rider built her life on the road after her personal world collapsed. What began as a search for escape slowly became a global journey across deserts, mountains, jungles, and war-touched borders. Her story is not only about travel, but about rebuilding identity after betrayal, learning resilience through physical danger, and finding clarity in motion when stillness felt unbearable. The road became both her therapy and her test, shaping every mile she covered. The life before the journey. Before the world of remote roads and endless horizons, she lived a stable and conventional life in the Netherlands. She worked as a geologist, had a steady income, a home, and a long-term relationship that seemed secure. From the outside, everything appeared balanced and predictable. However, that structure collapsed when she discovered her partner had been involved in a long-term affair. The revelation was not a simple breakup, but a deep rupture in trust and reality. The emotional shock made her feel disconnected from the life she had built, turning familiar spaces into reminders of betrayal and pushing her toward an irreversible decision. The decision to leave everything behind. After the breakup, staying in the same environment became emotionally unbearable. She made a radical decision to leave her previous life completely behind. She sold her possessions, left her home, and resigned from her job. Without a carefully planned career move or a business strategy, she simply chose distance from everything that reminded her of pain. India became her destination, not because of a structured plan, but because it represented motion, unpredictability, and separation from her past. This departure was less about ambition and more about survival, driven by the need to rebuild herself far away from the life that had shattered. First steps into motorcycle travel. In India, she rented a Royal Enfield motorcycle and began exploring the country's chaotic and vibrant roads. The experience was overwhelming at first, filled with traffic, heat, and unfamiliar terrain. Yet, something shifted as she rode. The constant need for focus left no room for emotional spirals or intrusive thoughts. Riding demanded full attention, turning each kilometer into a form of mental silence. Gradually, the motorcycle became more than transport. It became a tool for emotional regulation. What started as a temporary distraction transformed into a lifestyle choice, as she realized that movement helped her process pain in ways stillness never could. Expanding the journey across continents. What began as short rides in India evolved into long expeditions across multiple countries. She traveled through Southeast Asia, Central Asia, the Middle East, and eventually back toward Europe. Her routes included deserts, high-altitude passes, dense forests, and remote border regions. Each environment brought new challenges such as mechanical failures, extreme weather, and logistical uncertainty. Despite these obstacles, the act of riding remained central to her identity. The journey was not driven by luxury or comfort, but by curiosity and endurance. With every border crossed, the road became both a physical path and a continuation of personal transformation. The African accident. During a later expedition in Africa, while riding through difficult terrain near mountainous regions, a sudden change in weather created dangerous conditions. Rain and fog reduced visibility, turning dirt roads into slippery surfaces. While riding alone, she hit a rut and lost control of the motorcycle. The crash was severe. She sustained a fractured collarbone and serious injuries to her cervical vertebrae. Lying on the ground in remote conditions with limited communication, she faced intense physical pain and vulnerability. The situation highlighted how quickly solo travel can shift from freedom to survival when medical help is far away. Isolation and emergency response. After the accident, she was unable to move properly and had limited communication due to lack of cell service. She relied on a satellite device to send distress messages, but help was far away. For a significant period, she remained stranded in harsh conditions, experiencing both physical pain and emotional fear. Eventually, assistance arrived from a passing stranger, followed by coordination with local support services. She was transported for medical treatment where surgery was required to repair her injuries. Metal plates and screws were inserted to stabilize her collarbone. The incident ended the expedition abruptly and forced her to return home for recovery. Recovery and mental reset recovery was not only physical, but also psychological. Being forced to stop after years of constant movement created a difficult emotional adjustment. For someone accustomed to solving problems through action and travel, being immobile was mentally challenging. However, recovery also provided space for reflection. She had to process both the trauma of the accident and the earlier emotional wounds that had originally pushed her onto the road. Over time, healing became a gradual rebuilding process. Instead of viewing the accident as failure, it became another chapter in resilience, reinforcing the understanding that vulnerability is part of long-distance travel, theft, and recovery in Iraq. During another stage of travel in a different region, her motorcycle was stolen from a hotel parking area. The bike represented not only transportation, but also independence and livelihood. Fortunately, tracking technology had been installed on the vehicle, allowing its location to be traced. Working with local authorities, a coordinated effort led to the recovery of the motorcycle. It was found partially dismantled by individuals attempting to sell its parts. Although the bike was returned, it had suffered damage, making the situation both a relief and a violation of trust. The experience highlighted both risk and unpredictability in remote travel, meaning found in movement. Over time, the journey evolved beyond escape and adventure. It became a long-term relationship with uncertainty, endurance, and self-reliance. Each challenge, whether emotional, mechanical, or environmental, added layers to her understanding of resilience. The road did not erase past trauma, but it provided structure for processing it. Freedom on a motorcycle was never absolute. It came with risk, isolation, and responsibility. Yet within that balance, she discovered clarity. Movement became a form of healing, and challenges became milestones in rebuilding a life defined not by loss, but by adaptation. Conclusion. What appears from the outside as a glamorous travel lifestyle is actually a continuous negotiation with uncertainty and recovery. The journey began from emotional collapse but expanded into years of disciplined endurance across continents. Injuries, theft, and isolation revealed the fragile nature of solo travel, yet also demonstrated remarkable resilience. Rather than escaping life, the road forced confrontation with it in its rawest form. In the end, the journey is not defined by destinations reached, but by the ability to keep moving forward despite setbacks, transforming personal crisis into a sustained story of adaptation and strength.